So I got that going. Let me bring up the agenda just to go over it very quickly, and so you'll know what to expect. Give me a second. There it is. And I think I have an echo, so as soon as I'm done, I may get off and back on. I'll have to see. Welcome everyone to our annual community partner breakfast, which is, as you know, much different than this year than it's ever been. We will just do a brief welcome and a little overview of the Center for Service Learning, a couple of new things that we have. Then we'll move into our speakers. We have two speakers, Chelsea and Veronica, who are part of UTA departments on campus and have some really wonderful things to share with you. From there, we will move into the faculty, and we have one community partner who's going to be speaking, sharing their successes, challenges, etc., with doing virtual service learning. And then after that, we'll take any questions and answers after each of the presentations, and we'll move into the virtual networking and the channels. This is the part that Lucinda has been working very hard at putting together and helping the community partners be able to get into their channels. If for some reason it just isn't working for you, she has the channels set up, and any materials that you have forwarded to her are in those channels, so faculty, staff, and anyone else can continue to get into those and have your contact information. So all is not lost if something happens and we lose you somehow. So that is what we're doing today. So let me go back because I have put this into the actual Teams site. So you can pull it up. My name is Susan Dekiant. I am the Service Learning Director in the Center for Service Learning, which is located under the Center for Research on Teaching and Learning Excellence, led by Dr. Ann Cavallo, in the Provost's Office, Division of Faculty Affairs. And I know that's a mouthful. It's on the agenda as well at the bottom. We moved into Faculty Affairs and under Faculty Affairs as a center a little over 2 years ago. It's a great fit because we work directly with faculty to help them put a service component into their coursework. So the students get to practice in real life with real life partners to learn the things that the professor is trying to teach in the class. So it makes a huge impact on the students. I want to introduce two very pivotal people that work with us in the center. Lucinda Burkle. Lucinda, if you can say just a few words, introduce yourself. Can't hear you.
Get used to that. My name is Lucinda. I've been with UTA going on 9 years. I've been working with Susan with the Center for Service Learning as well as a Maverick Advantage a little over a year now. And I'm glad to get to know and see everyone's faces today.
And she has been, I mean, she is like my right-hand person working at programs and projects and making sure that I stay on task and working with all of you. So thank you, Lucinda.
Welcome.
The other person that works in the center is Lily Tanner. She is a graduate student in the Department of Communication, and she's been with us 1 week. She worked with us last year to help build from scratch the Maverick Advantage Faculty Engagement website. And then she came in to work with us starting last Friday, and she's pretty amazing as well. Lily, if you would just show your face, I know I want people to see who you are. You can just say a hello if you can.
Hi, I hope everyone can hear me. I was having trouble with Teams on my laptop, so now I'm on my phone. Despite only working for 1 week, I'm really enjoying working again with Susan and Lucinda. So I'm really excited for today.
Thanks, Lily. Okay. So what I want to do, we have a chat set up within Teams. I don't know how many of you have done it or know how to do it, but at the top there's a little like conversation bubble. What I want to do is ask and just put a word in there. What is the first word that comes to mind when you hear the term service learning? Hmm? I see several in there. Community, internships, lots of community, real world experience, experiential learning, collaboration. Yes, definitely. Applying knowledge, problem solving. Yes. Help. Always wonderful. Volunteering. Impact and reflective participation. Those are great words. Excellent, excellent. Well, you've hit on a lot of them in the chat. I was going to do one of those word clouds where you put in a word and it just keeps blowing up and blowing up. And I thought, nah, we'll just make it simple and put it in the chat today because I don't want to take up too much time, first of all. Service learning has four main parts to it. First of all, the activity must be in an academic course, so it is part of the coursework. Students work with a nonprofit agency or not-for-profit. And reciprocity is key to students learning and community partners being directly involved. So that reciprocity and the difference between volunteerism and service learning are the words for and with. In service learning, the professor and the students work with their community partners, so they both get something out of it. Volunteerism is a wonderful thing, but it's more somebody going in and doing something for you. So that's kind of the main difference, but the most important part of service learning is the deep guided reflection that comes during the experience. And that can come from the professors, the students. We even love to have input from our community partners to let us know how it's going, what could be different, so that we can have a true partnership and relationship. A little more about a couple of things that we have going in the Center for Service Learning that are a little different from last time is one of our student ambassadors, Dominique Lange, and then Zach, who is our other student ambassador, put together a new video to show in their courses. Until the pandemic, the student ambassadors would go to the classes and do a live presentation, but we decided with the pandemic, we would create a video which you could pull up and be able to use in your courses. And Lily is putting the link to the video in the chat. We also have a community partner listing on our website directly. Lily is loading that into the chat as well, how to get to that page. On there are a list of continuing community partners who have more ongoing things that they need done, tasks, contact people. Lucinda works hard at maintaining that list, and it's an ongoing process. It's almost weekly, it seems, but she's done a great job. So when she reaches out to you, please update her and let us know if there are changes in any of your agencies. We are also part of the Maverick Advantage Initiative, which is encourages students to get experiential learning in 5 distinguishing activities, and service learning is one of them. Lily will put that information on the website as well. And the last thing I want to mention is this is the Center for Service Learning's 20th year at UTA. It was put together October of 2001, and our next partner breakfast will be October. Lily's putting it into the chat. She has the date for that. So please mark your calendars, because hopefully we will be able to go back to normal and have all of you come together for this 20th anniversary special edition of the Community Partner Breakfast on campus, with tabling and breakfast and all the bells and whistles that we can bring up. So just wanted to touch on those things. All right. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the speakers. And what I will do is I will introduce each one in between. So then it will give the next presenter time to pull up their presentation or just themselves on the screen. And when they talk, if you would please mute your microphone. And I'm going to get off screen while they're presenting, so you might want to do the very same thing. Our first speaker is Chelsea Aguirre, and Chelsea, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Aguirre. She's going to come on for a couple of minutes and explain a little about what she can do to help you.
So Chelsea, I think if you're talking, you're muted.
So, oh no.
Yeah, so if you're saying anything, there you go.
Thank you. I forgot to unmute. I was so worried about getting my presentation up. Thank you. I'm so sorry. My name is Chelsea Aguirre, and I work with the Lockheed Martin Career Development Center, and I oversee the off-campus work study program. So what this is it's an extension of the federal work study program, and what we get to do, we have the opportunity and privilege to enter into contracts with various nonprofits, and they get a lot of benefits, as well as the students are able to use their work study award to work off campus and benefit the community. So one of the biggest things is all of the jobs are supposed to benefit the community and have some sort of like community service aspect. It doesn't have to be a direct service. It can be anything between like an office assistant or going out and helping, build houses or things of that nature. But one of the biggest benefits for off-campus partners is that they're reimbursed partial wages for the students. So they're reimbursed 75% for all community service positions with any nonprofit, and 100% for any specific tutoring positions that fall under the federal work study requirements or family literacy projects. And students can work up to 19 hours a week based on their award throughout all of the semesters. They get a lot of real world experience while utilizing their financial aid. So I think it's a really great program because it's a win-win for both our nonprofit agencies, they get help, and then our students also get to work within the community that they're living in and utilize their financial aid. So I would love to talk to you if you have any interest in joining our program. You can email me at offcampusworkstudy@uta.edu. I also have a very very informational handout that is under the files for the general team that you can see. And then I also just want to tell you that on March 4th at 2 p.m. we're having an info session for off-campus work study as well. If you would like more in-depth information on what the reimbursement process looks like, or specifics regarding contracts or anything like that, please join then. But if you're eager and want to go ahead and get that process started now or get your questions answered, please feel free to email me and check out that flyer as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chelsea. That is excellent information. And I would love if you would put your contact information into the chat so the community partners and others can have that readily. That would be wonderful. Okay, our next speaker is Veronica Guzman, who is with the Follett Student Leadership Center.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. So yes, my name is Veronica Guzman. I'm the Associate Director in the office, so do a little bit of everything with the office. This year, I've had the pleasure of advising the UTA Volunteers program, and I'm really excited to talk to you all about what they've been up to. Just to raise a virtual hands, if you've worked with UTA Volunteers in the past, I know that many of you have. Yes, so I just kind of wanted to give you some insight into a couple of things that they've been doing. As you know, as many other student organizations, we have pretty much gone virtual since the fall, but we still had a good number of students wanting to be involved. So we had about 80 students registering as members. About 40 have been showing up to our online regular meetings to be updated. And we've been implementing a lot of virtual opportunities, working with Sarah's Bag Ladies and Love for Our Elders, writing letters, you know, some insight into current college students, at least within the UTA Volunteers organization. You know, as you would expect, very responsible students. So they're certainly doing their best to always follow the CDC guidelines with everything. There are also students who may be living with others who may be highly susceptible to COVID. And so I think they, you know, in the idea of being responsible in that sense, in the fall, they were very much scaled back on the in-person events that they were doing. I think they got a little more comfortable as they started moving along and as we all started to learn more about it. And so I did drop in the chat just a quick little slide, almost a business card, if you will, with some photos of our members in the fall. They did have an opportunity to work with Mission Arlington. They were doing Sarah's Bag Ladies virtually and Love for Our Elders virtually, and working with the Tri-C right across campus with us. From, you know, talking with the current leadership of the organization, I think they're getting a general sense of, you know, they realize that there's a lot of work to do out in the community. And they're ready to, you know, get comfortable, get a little more out there. And they've really been thinking about, we've talked a lot about what we can't do, but what can we do as an organization and, you know, as college students. And so in part of the changes that we've been making overall with this organization is really helping them move from helpers to taking on a lot more initiative and seeing themselves as, you know, change agents in the community. So I'll give the example. At the beginning of the fall semester, you know, we gave them a charge that we wanted members to start taking on site leader responsibilities. Essentially, we want our members to be reaching out to all of you, you know, finding the organization that they care about, that they're very passionate about, that they want to learn more about, and reaching out to the volunteer coordinator and seeing, you know, how can we be of service? How can we help? As opposed to just waiting for the leadership of the organization to take on that role. And so really what we're trying to do is empower them and basically help them understand that there's no secret sauce to, you know, taking a step into making change in the community. And so that empowerment piece has really been the forefront of what we've been focusing on with our members. And it's really been making a huge difference. And I say that because I want you to know that you know, hopefully we have some members that, if they haven't already, start to reach out to you and seek those opportunities. And then we have our student leadership that is there to kind of help them with what the guidelines and the process, you know, should look like. But ultimately, we want them to understand that they have the opportunity to start making that change. They're not waiting for someone to essentially give permission. I think sometimes our members feel like they need permission to go out and make a difference. And so we're trying to help them understand the difference between the two. So we are continuing with both virtual and in-person opportunities. And we already have a good hearty calendar, and we're looking for more as we are still, for the spring semester, recruiting members. And so we expect to have even more than we did in the fall. We're also looking to start summer opportunities. So again, if you've known UTA volunteers before, that is not something that we've typically done, but we are really looking into how that can be a possibility, knowing that we're starting to have more and more students stay on campus throughout the summer, so that there may be more help there. So the other piece, that things that work really well for UTA volunteers, they're looking for areas where they can volunteer together as a team. So even if there's regular opportunities, we struggle with maybe having that one person, so different from service learning where you're going to have the same person committed, maybe all semester long. They do well with maybe the same project all semester. There'll just be a variety of people showing up. So if it works out, if your project works out for you in that way, that works out for our membership as well. And then also looking for annual events. So if there are annual events that your organization has that comes up every October or every April, let us know those dates. And that is definitely another thing that works really well for us to put on our calendar and to start planning out in advance to get members and volunteers involved. So it's a little bit about UTA volunteers and kind of what we've been up to. We do have 2 of our executive board members who will be joining the networking opportunity. One is Vivian Martinez, and the other is Ani Wagner. They'll say Tiffany, she goes by Ani, and they will most likely have a similar background to what I have, so you can recognize them easily. Please, I encourage you to chat with them about what opportunities you're looking for, and then go ahead and use that image that I put in the chat to reach out to our email so we can get more information for you and see how we can partner.
Thank you, Veronica. UTA Volunteers is a wonderful, wonderful organization, and the students are so dedicated to helping the community. So thank you for that.
Yes,
thank
you.
Next, we're going to move into the faculty who will be speaking about their experiences with service learning and virtual service learning. And the first speaker is Dr. Colton Strasser. So I'm going to get off camera and let him take over.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this morning. I'm going to talk about 2 different things real quick. The first one is I'm new to UTA. I recently moved here from California to lead our new Bachelor's in Philanthropy program. And so it's part of the Department of Communication here at UTA. Is a new program. It's the second Bachelor's of Philanthropy in the U.S. And so really excited to have that at UTA, and thought it was an interesting program to share with our community partners. Right now we have bachelor's level courses, but we are talking about, what does professional education look like? What does maybe a graduate program look like? So those are conversations we're having. So feel free to let us know if you're interested in that type of work. But our bachelor's program is a cross-campus collaboration between the College of Liberal Arts and the College of Business. And so some of the example courses that students in our program take include everything from fundraising to grant proposal writing to accounting to organizational communication. And so it's housed within the Department of Communication, and our friends in the Department of English teach some of the courses. You'll hear from Dr. Tim Ponce here in a little bit that teaches our grant writing class. And then the College of Business, where students receive some courses in management, nonprofit management, and accounting. So what we see for our students in the philanthropy program is that many of them are going to pursue different careers, which is great. Our program's flexible to allow those that want to enter fundraising to enter fundraising, and those that want to do more programs or marketing and communications have that opportunity as well. And these slides are also shared within the files. And so Feel free to take a look at them later if I go through this a little too quickly. And so one thing that's kind of cool here in Texas is that 1 in every 20 Texans works at some type of nonprofit organization. And so what our program seeks to do is connect those students to these organizations in various ways we do internships, we have a mentorship program that we're piloting this semester along with the Career Center. They're a really great partner. And then we also do service learning opportunities. And so we generally do calls for those the semester before we do the class, but this is only like my first and second time teaching those courses. So we're still working on piloting a couple projects, but once those are solidified, the Center for Service Learning will have some additional information and we can share that with you as well. A couple of things that we always ask our community partners to share and help us with is to encourage students to pursue a degree in philanthropy or nonprofit management. If you have some rock star high school volunteers that you think would be really great additions to our sector, that's a really great opportunity to sort of introduce them to this type of program. I actually have a bachelor's in philanthropy from the first school that had this program, which was the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. And I wouldn't have gotten that degree if someone didn't tell me, hey, you can work in a nonprofit. And so I'm like, oh, tell me more. And so it's things like that. Also, we asked for help in looking for opportunities for us to be involved and to share those with us. So if you are looking for some data or some information, or if you have, a specific project that you're looking to have done related to nonprofit management philanthropy, feel free to let us know. We're also a brand new program at UTA, so we ask that, share information about us with your colleagues, your friends, your neighbors. We're working on doing some additional community outreach this semester, and so I'm always open to getting different ideas about things we can be doing, and we're talking about, doing some community presentations and trainings and some other stuff. So my email is always open. And quickly, I want to shift to talking about service learning in a digital age. My background's in online teaching, and so as any faculty member, we like our charts and figures and slides. And so I just want to point out that service learning in an online environment can look a lot of different ways. First, there's web-assisted service learning, where you might be doing on-site service in an on-site class, and then this is sort of their traditional. And then there's all these other kinds too. And so sometimes our students are both doing online service and online classes. And so there's a variety of formats to fit, what's going on in the world. Right now, everything's kind of digital service learning due to the pandemic. But moving forward too, there's opportunities to do remote service learning as well. And so from my perspective, generally, I have the community partners perspective in mind is, really making sure some tips for success here in managing expectations is that, in working with your current partners, communicate with them about continuing service. If your world is crazy and the faculty members' world is crazy, and it's just not working out, don't force a collaboration. If you need to take a semester off, that's completely fine, and we understand. And just remember that your plans have maybe changed, but your commitment to this work is not. And so that's another point. And, just making sure if you do need to take a break or you need to reformat something or it's not going to be what you originally envisioned, that's okay. SMART goals, just making sure things are realistic and, able to fit within the semester. And then also a lot of nonprofits I know are either extremely busy or currently closed due to the pandemic. And with that, schedules have kind of gone out the window. And so just be really upfront about expectations and what you can take on. In terms of this online community engagement space, this is for both faculty and community partners, is, in my opinion, group projects are kind of really hard to manage online. And so I suggest potentially avoiding those or setting them up in a way that, they can be contained. And then the last comment I have, if your course is meeting face-to-face, giving students some time during the class period to connect in breakout rooms and to discuss the project. And also as a community partner, feel free to meet with students throughout the semester if you need to. And that's another opportunity as well. And so that's my quick whirlwind. Here's my email, but I'll also put it in the chat. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be kind of wandering around during the networking time. So if you find me, feel free to, send me a message or ask me some questions, and happy to connect. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all you do and for partnering with us and our students.
Thank you so much, Colton. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to him directly, put it into the chat, or however you'd like to ask those questions. I would like to then turn it over to Professor LaDonna Aiken.
Hello, I'm LaDonna Aiken. I'm a broadcast specialist in the Department of Communication, and I just want to talk a little bit about this time we're going through right now with virtual learning, virtual everything. One good benefit of this time is that we have a chance to work within the box, so to speak. I tell my students that when you have these limitations, it really it helps you find that creativity, and it helps you enhance your critical thinking skills. So this time period actually aligns well with one of my course goals, and that is to have students think within the box. So think within these limitations. So the way I use that, for example, is because we do video production, is we have to create videos without maybe meeting someone in person. So we're using different ways to communicate their message. And I think it's important too to speak to the community partners, to speak to you and find out, well, how have your needs changed? How have your problems changed? So this is another thing that I think is important, is communicating with the community partners and just seeing how you can solve their problems, and what are these problems that are new now because of the pandemic. So check in with the community partners, and check in with us. Like Colton was saying, if it's not conducive right now to collaborate, don't feel that need to do that. But if you do have a new problem to solve, reach out, because my students are there to do that. For example, so Colton has the new Philanthropy program, and we're going to be creating videos for his program, little promo videos, little 30-second, 60-second social media videos that he can use in whatever way he needs. And one of the limitations we'll have is we're not going to be adding, narration. It's just going to be strictly text with music, put together maybe with found footage. They're not going out and shooting video. So they're going to really have to be creative and think about how they can communicate the message and appeal to, students and peers. So I'm looking forward to that assignment, and my students are going to learn a lot from that too. Another example of how we are using this time is, in the past, we've collaborated with many community partners to do promo videos, informational videos, recruiting videos. And one collaboration we did with CERTL was we created like teacher scenarios that happen in the classroom, where we showed students behaving in ways that, might be confounding. And, then we let teachers discuss, well, how do we solve these problems? So now that there's a lot of virtual learning going on, we're going to create a set of new videos that talk about Teams meetings. What are the problems that happen in these Teams meetings when you're teaching online? So new problem for our partner, and we're going to come up with a new solution and create these videos that demonstrate some of the problems that teachers might encounter and how they would solve it. So I just think this is a great time to embrace this limitation we have, and look at the problems, how we can solve them differently. Because in the end, I think the critical thinking skills are what we are really teaching our students, because especially in video, the technology is going to change all the time. So they have to learn to think critically. They have to think creatively. So I just look at it as an opportunity. So if any of you have questions or needs that are different problems now, feel free to reach out to me in my class. You know, they're looking for challenges, and we're happy to help. And I'll put my email in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch, LaDonna. Your students do some amazing things with the videos that they create. And Dr. Ann Cavallo has also worked with you and your students to create training videos for faculty on campus, and they have been very well received. And I know the students had a great time putting them together too.
Yeah.
So thank you. Any questions for LaDonna before we move on? Okay, then I want to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Karishma Chatterjee, and let you take it over.
Hi, Susan, and I do appreciate being here and having an opportunity to meet with you all. I do have a few slides that I would like to share, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Are you able to view this?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So I want to acknowledge and thank my students in communication training and development who successfully completed their service learning project last fall. As I was reading some of their reflection papers last night, I came across this particular reflection from a student that speaks to why we are here this morning. I think the relationship between UTA and HRA can continue to grow because even in this backwards pandemic-ridden year, the two of us have still found a way to work together. So I'd like to take a few minutes and talk to you a little bit about how the students made that possible. To give you a little bit of a background, students in various courses that I've taught at UTA have partnered with Helping Restorability. I believe it is one of the largest agencies in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area that provides services to individuals with physical and intellectual disabilities. So I reached out to various individuals and I pitched ideas about this particular class and what my students could do for them and what needs they had. In turn, I heard back from the office manager saying that they actually needed specific help in creating messages to implement its back to work policy. So being in communication, we are in the business of creating messages, print as well as video and audio. Students worked in teams to do research for the initial contact that they had with the director of research, who was our contact for the project. And I had given students an opportunity to support roles that they felt most comfortable. So there was a project lead and there were document leads and presentation leads. So each team came up with a list of questions, then the project leads put all the questions together, and then I helped them winnow them down so we were not using any duplicates. Just to give you a little bit of background and also piggyback on what Colton and LaDonna have mentioned, that we really embraced technology. So we knew we were working with certain limitations, but I also think technology has allowed us to go outside the box. So I'm going to provide the other end of the spectrum to what LaDonna was saying. We used Microsoft Teams to do the interviews. So it was the student leads who were interacting and asking questions. And students also used the sub-channels that I had created in Microsoft Teams. So this was a class that met every time class was scheduled. We were online and we were synchronous. So we used the online class time to work on the project. Students also reached out via Teams if they had a quick, question for me or if they wanted a quick meeting. So that was really convenient, which would not have been possible if it was not COVID times. And finally, students used Google Documents to work on their proposals. As when we think about virtual groups, we need to talk to students about lean media and rich media. So how can we use media that allows us to coordinate, which is really important for the process of collaboration. So in real time, students could be working on the documents. I would give them feedback, and it was a very seamless process of working on the various documents. So at the end of the semester, this is what the students did, and they had a digital portfolio that they can use for their career. They had conducted a needs assessment, they had created goals and objective statements, they had generated training content, they had created an evaluation tools, and they had a solid training proposal, which they then implemented. They presented their ideas, and they also created original print and audio visual content. So some of the videos that they created were to do with hand washing videos and social distancing, and I want to share some of the print original content that they created. So we have team senior writers who came up with a broad guide to mask use before, during, and then how do you dispose of the mask. They had some hand washing visuals. Quarantine had specific when and how to wear a mask. And they even came up with what does one have to know and how do you implement social distancing at the office workspace. Finally, I just want to share some of their reflections. It allowed students to, of course, apply course concepts. They felt that they were able to hone in, develop their communication skills, work as a team, able to demonstrate leadership skills. And I like this because we had many students realizing that they are pretty tough, that they can get things done despite COVID. Some students felt that they could flex their muscles, they could showcase their communication skills. Many students were actually graduating seniors, so this class allowed them to flex their communication knowledge and skills. Some students also realized that they had an edge perhaps over other applicants for potential jobs. And finally, I had some students who had never worked on a project of the large scale that it was, so there was a sense of accomplishment. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
This is Pamela Wright. I'm with the League of Women Voters, and we are a small local league, and I'm wondering, do the projects need to be large scale enough to last an entire semester, or can we do something with your group that might last a semester but be smaller scale?
It could be the scale that you would want it to be. So okay. Service learning projects can come in different shapes and sizes. So we can tailor make it such that it meets your needs, and in turn students learn and they're actually able to apply some of the concepts to that particular project. So it doesn't have to be like a semester long huge project.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that was a really good question, because sometimes when people hear service learning and putting it into a course, they think it's going to be the whole course. It's going to be a service learning course. And in reality, it is a project or something that is just put into the course as just the coursework. It can be one small project a week long. It can be the whole semester long. It can be just as small or large as necessary so that it fits within the faculty's student outcomes, things they want them to learn. And so it really is tailor-made. Great question.
Thank you. To add on to that, then, how do we work first through you as the head of the department, or how would we, if we have a project, what would be the community partner's first step to try to determine what professor would be the best fit for our project? Would we go to you? Would we go to someone else?
If you don't have a professor that you already have a relationship with, then yes, come to me and I will reach out to see if any of the professors on campus have something that fits within the scope of what you're needing.
Okay.
And then you build the relationship between you. I'm out of the picture after that.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the questions, and Dr. Chatterjee, thank you very much for the presentation. I love that you brought in the student perspective and the testimonials from students so we can see how they feel about doing service learning in the class. It really is valuable. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and write my email, because I'm always looking for community partners and for all my courses. So I'd love to connect with some of you when we have our interaction round.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, I want to introduce Dr. Tim Ponce and let him take it from here.
Awesome. How is everyone doing this morning? I hope we're great. And so I just want to share with you a little bit about how I'm doing service learning within my courses. So let me tell you quickly a little bit about just myself. So I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of English, but my actual content area that I've been hired to teach is technical writing and professional design. And so I deal a lot with print design, single page design, multi-page design, accessible documents, like manuals, but I also deal with like information architecture, which is like, how do you organize information on, say, a website or a mobile application so that it's usable for your particular user. And then also I'm the coordinator of internships within the Department of English. So that means that I am going to be working with students who will get course credit for engaging in some sort of a relationship with either an employer or a community partner. So really, when I think about service learning, there are really two ways that I kind of engage with service learning. And it's really through my coursework that I teach, and the internships are kind of a different. Oh, no, ballerinas. So one of the things I want to do, we just talked about how having that student voice is really important, and for everyone to understand how much students really see this as beneficial, I think is key. And so I want to kind of address that a little bit, because I think student voice is vital. We don't hear enough from students in a lot of settings. Once we get out of the classroom and we get into like the, community engagement or upper level administration, we're not hearing student voice enough. And so I want to actually share with you a video I created during the pandemic shutdown. And we kind of went from doing a face-to-face service learning experience to going completely online after spring break. And so here's actually an example of literally, this is like 5 days before the And so my grant writing students went and did a site visit, part of the Lindenix Clinic, which is part of Mansfield Mission Center overall. It's their medical side. So I want to share this video with you really quickly, just so you can kind of hear from students the impact that service learning really has on their learning experience. When I first began to think about teaching a grant and proposal writing course at UTA, I was struck with a challenge. Given the nature of this kind of writing, I knew I needed to find a way to connect my course material to community partners outside of my classroom. Grant and proposal writing doesn't take place in a vacuum, but instead responds to ever-changing rhetorical contexts. Nor do grant writers write alone. Instead, they work with a multidisciplinary team to represent a wide range of clients and community partners, from schools to researchers and even nonprofits.
I quickly realized that to teach this content effectively, I needed to employ a service learning pedagogy, engaging my students with a community partner.
Hey, all of you in Dr. Timothy Ponce's class. We are so thrilled with all of the work that you've been doing with the grant writing to help us raise additional funds for the London Next Clinic. And so on behalf of all of us at Mansfield Mission Center, I just want to say thank you so much. And a big shout out to Dr. Ponce for getting this partnership going between UTA and the Mansfield Mission Center. And just to say how incredibly thankful we are and how meaningful it's been for us. So thank you. Y'all stay safe, and we hope to see you again soon.
Being in a service learning class like English 3379 has helped teach me practical real-world skills for grant writing. The service learning experience is engaging to me and has given meaning to the work that we do. It has exposed me to real-world usage of in-class concepts and allowed for me to learn hands-on. The service learning experience has helped prepare me for my career after college and will help me thrive going forward.
Hi, I'm Angelina Wellpley, and this class has helped enhance my learning by understanding what professionals want, as well as understanding the format that they're looking for on paper, for example, the memos. This class has not only prepared me in those two criteria, but as well as when I do leave college, I understand what those organizations are looking for so I can own it and rock it.
Partnering with Mansfield Mission Center and Dr. Ponce's grant and proposal writing class has been nothing short of amazing this semester. We have been able to work firsthand with the leadership team at Mansfield Mission Center, which has granted us access for site visits and live data, which we have to see firsthand what impact Mansfield Mission Center is making in our own community and what impact we can make just by partnering with them. I think that this service learning project is so valuable because we've been able to be given that exposure that we need in order to apply ourselves and know the ins and outs of grant and proposal writing. I think that the live data has contributed tremendously to our projects because we are able to for in the future for funding.
Hi, my name is Renee Seyfried. I'm currently taking Dr. Ponce's grant and proposal writing class. It's a service learning class that allows me to interact more with our community. Pretty much what this has done for me is allow for me to actually feel like I'm making an impact. Everything I do in this class has a purpose that I can see right in front of me, and if I do it successfully, that means someone out there is helped. And for that, like for me, that is just an amazing feeling, and I feel like I actually want to learn, but at the same time I'm a little nervous because if I don't do good enough, then that means someone out there may not be getting the help or may not be getting the resources they could have gotten if my grant was good enough. So there's a little pressure that comes along with it. However, it's a great environment. I work with others. We're all working together, like we're all struggling together to make this service learning class a positive learning experience and a positive impact on our community. And I'm really thankful for it.
Employing a service learning model for this course has enabled me to ground the theory of grant and proposal writing in exigent, tangible outcomes and deliverables. This exigency has truly helped me better teach the course material, as well as prepare my students to use the course content in their life after university.
All right, so you can kind of really hear from those students that there is this exigency that comes along, right, with doing service learning, that there's this applicable real world impact that they're seeing. So if you're a community partner on this call right now, right, and we have like 50 people, a little more than 50 people on this call, and we're posting the video so people will see who's not even on it right now, just know that there really is a reciprocity, like Susan talked about. You're not just benefiting from it, but our students really want to do this, and they're learning so much more, and they feel so much more connected as a result. So thank you so much for being a part of that process. We really couldn't do it without you. So that was a little bit from students. Again, that was one particular class. So that entire course, we partner all semester long with that one community partner to, again, to get to know them. Because when you're really grant writing, you got to understand the mission, understand their needs, understand that particular sort of niche field. And so that's a longer relationship. But there's other courses I teach, like document design, where we did a unit on single page design. And we talked a little bit about poster design. And we partnered with a school and we made a bike and toy drive poster, right? And we all worked together and workshopped that. And then we put forward 3 options. The school picked one, and we had them printed at a local printer, and they went up. So again, it's little things like that where then my students can then demonstrate these skills in ways that they wouldn't be able to in just sort of a fictional environment. So the other thing I'm going to say is that, if I can move to my next slide, internships. So internships provide a unique experience because it's not a whole course that's going to end up being partnering with a nonprofit, but it's going to be an individual. So I have a new partner. I currently have 17 students right now in internships in my department. And so we have a new partnership with Breach Without Borders. They are an organization that specifically works on breech birth training, particularly in countries where access to medical information or medical services is going to be limited. So we have a lot of community-based health, a lot of midwives who have just kind of trained with other midwives. And so this organization, which is headed up by Dr. Rixa Fries, and she's currently in France, is all about translating material for training and creating usable, accessible documents so that people can get the information they need. And it's about advocacy and access to birthing situations that are going to be healthy for the mother and for baby, right? And so I have 2 students actually who are partnering with them right now. One is actually doing some grant writing. So she's actually involved in researching some grants and getting those narratives put together. And I have another student, and that student specifically is interested in pursuing a career in nonprofit work and nonprofit funding. I have another student who actually wants to go into archiving work, and she wants to do a master's of in archiving. And so she's actually working with them on an IRB data collection project where they're really just starting to collect data that they can then in turn use to write other grants, right? So my archiving student, I'm like, part of archiving information is understanding how data is collected. And so this is an opportunity to help be a part of a very official IRB approved through university, setup for collecting data, and then ultimately it will be archived with that university as well. So again, this is not only are we helping students learn concepts in courses, but you can even see through my internship program, really students are being able to exercise those in a professional setting in a way that would not normally be possible for them. And so I think that the benefits of service learning are astronomical, both for students and for the partners. So anyway, that's just a little blurb about what I'm doing with service learning. Doing it online has been different, right, than it has been in the past. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but like for instance, as soon as I get off this call, I'm jumping on another call to do a video conversation and recording that with a community partner because I teach all of my courses asynchronously. I have a lot of students in the English department who would have dropped out of UTA had there not been some sort of asynchronous option, and they would not make progress towards that degree. And part of that just has to do with the fact that they got kids at home. They're working full time. They're trying to homeschool in the middle of the pandemic. And so this is just that option for them. I'm also getting ready on Monday to do a tour of a community partner facility and just record the whole thing and do a digital tour with my students through a facility. So not exactly how it was, but with flexibility and really trying to really think creatively, we can continue, I think, some beneficial partnerships. So if you're at all interested in things like grant writing, or again, having some technical writing, document design, anything like that, just reach out to me. I'm happy to partner with you, or if I can't, or if I don't think I have the ability to, I'll definitely get you in touch with a lot of my friends around campus who are in different departments that I think could really help you. So anyway, I'm gonna put my information in the chat, and I've already talked more than I'm supposed to, so I'm gonna get off the call.
Thank you, Dr. Ponce. Always, interesting information that you can provide and help not only the campus, but our community partners as well. We have heard from departments on campus and the things that we can help you with. We have heard from faculty who have pivoted to virtual learning and virtual service learning. But now I would like to turn it over to one of our community partners who was recommended to us by Dr. Diana Jones in the School of Social Work, Michelle Flores. So Michelle, if you want to take it from here.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I am Michelle Flores with All Things Made New. We are so excited for the impact that you guys have, the students at UTA have helped our organization with. Our focus is on positive youth development through mentoring at-risk youth in 5th through 12th grades, including teen moms. So we have programming for character development, college and career readiness, social emotional support, case management, and youth life coaching. And we serve about 150 youth per year through ongoing relationships and reoccurring programs. So we partner with many nonprofits. We also are a district resource here in Irving ISD where we are located, and we help to identify those best candidates from the help and support that we can provide as a nonprofit. Through Dr. Diana Jones, she's been an amazing advocate to help us kind of grow and expand our reach. We started with a couple of interns in 2020, helping with micro and macro, both with grants development and case management build out. And we ended up with 12 interns through the summer semester because of the need through the pandemic to reach out more than we had prior. So when COVID hit, we were critical, or they were critical in helping us to really strengthen our case management since we couldn't see our students on a weekly reoccurring basis. They helped us to really create an outreach team, reach out to those kids and parents, making sure that they were heard, checked on, and supported to meet those basic needs and also those emotional needs that they were facing through this avalanche of a lot of things that were kind of imploding on our families. Additionally, they helped us, our interns helped us to move our mentoring program that was all face-to-face completely online in 1 week. So they were pivotal in helping us to really make that a success. And so there's absolutely no way we would have been able to be so successful without those support systems in place. And then in addition to that, our grant intern that Dr. Diana Jones sent to us was able to help us secure the largest grants that we've ever had in order to help continue sustainability and support for those programs. So that was game changing because we have a very lean team here, and they were just phenomenal in helping us in that capacity. So since beginning our journey with adding interns to our teams, it's just been such a wonderful experience and long-lasting connections and friendships with our interns, that one in particular that we hold near and dear to our hearts. Since she left her internship with us, she still volunteers as an individual mentor with our high school students. She connects with us on a regular basis as an advocate to help us partner with other organizations that she's familiar with. And then she's even asked to serve on the board as an advocate for our organization because of the impact that has been made through their service here. So we have a few others in addition to that that have asked to stay on as volunteers. And it has nothing to do with us, but everything to do with the clients that we serve and our families, because our interns have been such an intricate impact into the service that we're doing. And so because of that, it's just been an extremely amazing experience for us at All Things Made New. And we couldn't have done it without these awesome interns. So we're forever grateful for that.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Wow.
Thank you.
So impactful what the students are getting out of it and what the faculty and community partners are getting out of it, because it is truly, service learning is built on relationships, and setting things up in a positive manner at the beginning is key to making it work. So does anyone have any questions before we leave the program part of the breakfast? You want to get on camera or just type them in or just ask them? Don't have to raise your hand or anything.